Hello, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Pints. I'm your host, Rob, and with me here as my guest today is Carolyn.
Hi.
What's your last name, Carolyn?
It's Yonge. It's
Carolyn.
like Yonge Street in Toronto. Direct relative.
Excellent. So you're related to a street.
I am. To the 5th Baronet of Canada.
All right, that's really random. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, today we are drinking... First, we're going to talk about the beer we're drinking, because I'm very excited about it. I just discovered this kind of beer last week. It's called a Radler. Today we're drinking the Tricycle by Parallel 49. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. Now it's here. The Radler. So, Carolyn, we were looking up Radler on the internet just a few moments ago. Do you want to tell us what a Radler is? And remember, your close-up's over there.
So a Radler is a German sports drink, in quotations, consisting of beer and lemon soda or some other fruit drink. It's almost like I feel the tricycle is an homage to Tour de France because...
And also German, it's German for cyclist, Radler.
It is.
Is it? Or German or some other European language?
Well, yeah. Radler means cyclist, so yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's really good. It's a lower percentage. It's about 3.5%, but I have to admit, it kind of reminds me of the Corona with a lime in it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it, except it's a lot better than the Corona with a lime in it.
I definitely taste a lot of the grapefruit.
It's delicious.
And then it's definitely very refreshing for the weather that's outside right now. This smoky, hot haze that we're enjoying.
The 2015 heat wave in Vancouver, where we have something like 80 different forest fires running, and there's kind of an overhead. It feels like it's in some cities in China, I think, where the air quality is a little bit lower.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, we can really relate to Beijing or Shanghai right now.
On this episode of Between Two Pints, Carolyn is actually going to tell us about a short film she was in about half a year ago, and it's getting ready to hit festivals now. So why don't you tell our viewers a little about it?
Yeah, it's called Lily's Crossing, and it was a film I did last Labor Day. It's a film sort of about a girl struggling with mental illness and sort of society's view of mental illness, and the film it's not super dialogue heavy. It's a lot of visual movement throughout the story and just showing her and her views of her life, and it's her trying to help her dad out mostly. And are you the girl? Yeah, it's a funny story. I auditioned for it, and originally it was a 14-year-old, but they really loved what I did, so they upgraded her age to 17, and so I played a 17-year-old, and it sort of has an Aronofsky feel to it, and it was shot on Black Magic, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. And so it's just going to festivals, and our hope is to go to VIFF, and... I'd just like to point out, filmmakers, don't you love the actresses who notice the camera you film in and the style? It's just so great. Yeah, it was mostly handheld, which was awesome, and... You said there was a little slider? There was a slider. We used a slider for a few stuff, and then there's sort of a scene, sort of the pivotal climax of the film has a dolly. So yeah, it's awesome. It was just really, it was a hard shoot. It was like 3 days of 16-hour days, and I had to do like a prosthetic, and the makeup artist on that is amazing. What kind of prosthetic did you have to do? She has a scar. She's also a cutter, so it also talked about people who self-mutilate for... Kind of like tattoos. Kind of like, yeah. But the makeup artist who did it, Alana Cossey, she was amazing, and she did such a good job. It looked really real. I remember going for a coffee on a break once, and someone saw it, and they were really freaked out, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. It's not real. It's just part of the movie." So it was fun to shoot with two directors. Never experienced that before, and just shooting in and around Vancouver. And how long was it? You said it was a short film. Now, short films can go from anywhere from 13 minutes to like a little less than an hour and a half. It was about 18 minutes, I think, is the last cut that I saw. Well, that's pretty good. That's not that short. Yeah. I always tease them like, feature next. So, we'll don't know. But we actually got Sean Tozer, who did the score for Da Vinci's Inquest, to come in, and he scored the whole film, and it has a really, really great sound to it. And it was really exciting to have that he watched it, loved what he saw, and thought, hey, I want to score this for you guys. So excellent. And that'll be hitting festivals very soon? Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I've just checked the time. We have 5 minutes left. So, Carolyn, I'm going to explain our next part to the viewers while you get to work on that pint of beer. Oh, yeah. Because it is delicious, and unfortunately, you won't get to enjoy the flavor. So, viewers, normally, the first few episodes, this is an experimental project in the first few episodes of Between Two Pints.
I've had my friends who are filmmakers on, and they've been able to be a lot more speculative about the projects we talk about because they're their projects. Unfortunately, Carolyn doesn't own this project, and I don't want to step on the director's toes and have anybody be offended. And if that director is watching and wants to come on the show,
yeah,
hey, but
they like beers, so.
But Carolyn was telling me earlier, and this is something I've heard from a number of female actresses, and it was one of the reasons Standard Action happened, and I really have to think it's a great thing, is that there are a lot of young women out there who are ready to start producing their own roles that they want to lead in, or be a lead, project that they're a lead in, because there aren't a lot of roles out there for young women or women in their 20s being anything more than the girlfriend or the wife, and I think it's great because, in a generation or so, we're going to have all these girls who grow up with all these great projects where women are awesome characters in it, like a sorcerer, human, or a barbarian elf.
Yeah.
So, chug that beer and tell that close-up a little about the project you'd like to do.
Well, I don't feel like I relate a lot to women my age, and I really don't feel like I really have it all figured out, and I don't think anyone does in their 20s, but I think a lot of people think that they do, and
I have to agree. I've met a lot of 20-year-olds who think they have things way more figured out than I do, and I got to admit, I don't have things figured out.
And I'm sort of in this weird place of where do I want to go, and I think a lot of people are really scared to risk, and I love films about time travel or where characters end up in situations that us as the audience know everything about, and then watching them try to navigate this new circumstance like that. And I was really inspired by films like Lost in Austin and Kate and Leopold, which is a really dorky romantic movie, but Hugh Jackman's amazing in that film.
Hugh Jackman's amazing in everything.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman is amazing. Hugh Jackman is amazing walking down the street.
Yeah, like, he just... he was in a NYU film. He was just walking down the street, and they're like, hey, do you want to be in our movie? And it was a student project. He was like, yeah, sure, and he just did it. So I was just really inspired by stories like that, so I decided that I started thinking about what would happen if I myself or someone like that would end up in a story where they knew everything about the story, but that they had to navigate. And so the story is that my character... she's in this job that she doesn't really have a degree for, but it's paying the bills, and she doesn't really know what she wants to do because the sort of lie of going to university, getting a degree, and having it all sorted out for you doesn't really work out for her, and all her... she has this one really close female friend who has a lifestyle blog, who's really successful, and she just doesn't feel like she connects or relates to anyone. She ends up at this book club, and this one girl that she has a lot of judgment towards suggests reading this book. And it's this cliche, one step above an erotica novel. And it's about this guy who's, he's estranged from his father, and he goes to settle his father's estate, and then meets the woman who helps him do it, and then he ends up getting,
So when does it get supernatural or cool? Come on, tell me the good part.
So she picks up this book, and she reads it, and she reads it every time she goes to bed, and she starts slowly working out that every time she falls asleep and ends up in this book.
Is she the girl that's helping him sell the estate?
Well, that part I'm not sure on, but I'm pretty sure that girl still exists in the story, but she's sort of interjected before he ever meets her, so he meets her, and she gets to sort of escape from her life, and she escapes into this book when she slowly realizes, and has a lot of criticisms against him, and then he points out that she has a lot of criticisms that she needs to focus inward.
Like her. Now, I'm going to give you one piece of advice, because I love stories like this, where it is magic in the end. I really hate shows where it's like, and it was all in her head.
No.
Please, I beg you, just have something magical happen. That would be so cool.
I have a lot of thoughts, but I definitely don't think it's all in her head. I think we might explore her going into other books. Like her ending up in Lord of the Rings. Falling asleep at the part where she meets Gollum or something like that.
If you need a PA, I'm really good at that stuff.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think it's just it'll be a funny, cute film, but it'll be a film about just sort of realizing what makes you happy and going after that and not following, taking the road less traveled by. And it was sort of a story inspired by something my uncle told me, and that he didn't really know his dad until after his father had died, and he got to read his journals, and he said through his journals he actually got to know what his dad was all about, and all the things that he went through, because he just never got to speak to him, and his dad was in the war. And
it's just really touching, but we're running out of time, and
yeah,
let me just
no
turn
worries.
this on. Okay, so Carolyn, please finish that. But you, okay, I'm sorry. It was a beautiful story. We're gonna get you back on the show to tell us about your uncle reading that journal. Right now, you know you need to start chugging. You're from Alberta. Time to represent. People from Alberta judge the crap out of this girl. She can't chug this beer. So we got a couple minutes left, but we are running out quickly. We need to finish our beer. That was a really cool story about that that project you want to keep chugging your beer.
Oh, okay.
It's just listen. So when I chug when you're ready to take a break, I will start chugging my beer, and you're going to tell them, is it going to be a short film? Is it going to be a feature? Is it going to be a web series? Are you going to start it as a short film and then film it as a web series? You got to keep chugging. You do have to finish this. We can't cut. We're trapped in a prison, a digital box-like prison. All right, here we go. Right, that's a girl from Alberta. So now tell us about the project.
It's going to be a feature film. It's going to be shot locally, but that's all I know for now. So I'm open to ideas, suggestions, but that's essentially the...
Have you written the script?
I'm almost done the script. So it's still, I still got a few things to work out, but yeah.
Have you ever read Save the Cat?
Yes, that's such a great book.
Yes! Bro high five, or bro whatever.
Yeah,
yes.
Shake it out.
No, it's a good book. And if you're watching and you ever want to write a movie, read Save the Cat. It's big print, 200 pages, and a great read.
Yeah.
It touches on Greek, the fundamental stories of life and shit.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us on another episode of Between Two Pints. I'm your host, Rob, and with me it was Carolyn, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
And you will come on again, and we were talking even before this, and since I brew beer and wine, maybe we can get Carolyn over and we can do some really weird episode of Between Two Pints where we document us bottling wine. Maybe. We'll never know. But thank you for joining us. Please drink a beer along with us in this episode and leave a drunken comment in the comments. I will owe you one if you do. Thank you. Let's get some more beer. I think I have a couple more in the fridge, actually.